in the ASEAN countries have also known Wayne for many years. Wayne Jiang is at Michigan State University and is involved with the IR4 project in the analysis of pesticide residues in our domestic program. And he's also been very involved in our international program, both in Asia, Latin America, and Africa, in assisting in developing the capacity of many countries to analyze samples of many different types of crops. Also, simply, having the results and knowing what to do with the results, how to put those into final reports. And he's going to be covering all those different aspects over the next several days. So I think we're right about time to begin. I also want to introduce Taratip or Nui. She's on the line from Apari, and she is handling the IT for today. I will remind you, please mute your lines if you are not speaking. That is very, very helpful. Also, if you have not already signed into the chat box, we encourage everybody from anywhere who's participating, please enter your name and your email, and that will help us to collect who is actually participating in these meetings. So now I think I see we're up to 32 people, which is a nice number. And so I will hand the floor over to Wayne, who will be providing the training. Wayne?
Okay, thanks, Michael. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Okay, depends on where you are. Next few days, you're gonna go with me with the lab training, typically a lab and a GOP together. I know I went to a lot of countries, which I will also show some pictures in the PowerPoint slides. And you will see I visit many countries. Some of you may know. This is also a good time for you to know each other as well in this training. So let's get started. Well, you can look on the screen. This is the training agenda. So we will be doing this in the next few days, the whole week, this week. We will have mainly 2 sessions from 6 a.m. here, New York time, through about 7 o'clock-ish. Then we have a short break. And in the same time, we can also talk to each other. Maybe that's too many people to talk online, but you can find the email, you can find the different means of communication. You can talk later, and that's one of the purpose to get this work done is communication and to work with each other. Then later we will have another session, keep going on. Then after that we will have the questions. I know actually when I learned GOP, actually I'm still learning that now. I learned by mistakes. I learned through the work, and I learned through each other. So if I keep sitting here talking to you, it's too boring actually. But I would say if we go this way, it will be much easier and easier for you to understand, and we can get work done. For example, we go down a little bit, you look on the screen. We will do the training today, but mainly is talking about myself, okay? Because that's also related to the work. There's a lot of in the work there that you will see the PowerPoint slides. Then we will talk about the general information about the GOP, good laboratory practice. And there are a lot of definitions, but depends on the definition, they may mean different things. And even the same term in different area, different regulations in different countries, they may have different definitions. But I'm just using those as example. Then after that, we will typically just do a lot of discussions. For example, if your lab is doing the residue work, for example, in this program, so what you will be doing. So we will talk about that and what's your need. For example, I went to different countries. So sometimes there's some kind of help we can do. We can provide certain help for your needs. For example, if you do the extractions, you need to cut your material. Sometimes it takes longer for you to get, but if I visit your lab, I typically will call you, will email you, find out what need is, and sometimes I just simply bring some there. Will be easier, but we will talk about that. And later we will set up the certain ways for us to do the communication in order to make our work easier. So we will talk about the different communication between me and you and among attendees yourself. Then about the next tomorrow and rest of the week, we will be doing some more training later. But this is the work today. Okay, let's get started. For example, let's see. I need to share my screen. Which one is one I need to look? Okay, we're gonna talk about. This is not. Let me put it this side. Okay, you probably cannot see that with this one. I mean, let me share that. Yeah, we're sharing. Okay, let's pause.
I see a gray screen, Wayne.
I know. I maximized my PowerPoint. I need to share. Let me see. Pause share. Okay. I pause. Share this screen. It says, oh, let me stop share first, and then move it back. See what's going on. Don't see any. Then I can share again. Oops, I share my video. That's a little bit technical. Okay. Share screen. That will be PowerPoint. Okay, that's what I want. Yeah.
Inspector is what I see.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, I was. Do I put the right one? I think I did. I was trying to say. Okay, that are some difficulties. That's fine. Well, most of you, I don't say most. Some of you may know me. Okay, my name is Wayne Jam. I work for IR4 at Michigan State University in East Lansing, Michigan. Well, because I work at the university, I also teach. So sometimes, yeah, you will find I have different titles. The best way to get a hold of me is this email. Why I put up 2 emails there? That's interesting. Okay. Okay. Let's talk about myself. In the same time, I will, because I work with IR4. I work in different areas. You will see this is the profile, or you can see from angle of me and my work. Well, we talk about my education. So, for example, yeah, you can see on the screen, all my education is chemistry. So you will see that. You will see Okay, you will see this picture, and I'm quite sure most of you don't know where it is. It says on the corner here, it says Laurentian University. This is in Canada, and I got my a master's there in 1995. I know this is well, it's quite a long time ago. Yeah, it's probably earlier than some of you in the audience before you were born. Okay, this is about 400 kilometers north of Toronto, and the most famous thing there is nickel. So they got the world the biggest nickel mine there, and you see on the screen, this is the 5 cents U.S. currency, and that's called a nickel. And most of those nickels were produced in this area in Sudbury, Ontario, Canada. So that's where the name come from. And if you go to visit the city, you will see a big nickel mine there, a big nickel sign, and a huge nickel statue there. That's where they found the nickel metals there and built the biggest nickel mines there. And they got 3 biggest one there. Oh, you will see that this building here, it's quite old building, and this is McMaster University, where I got my PhD there. So I got my PhD, it's last century actually, it's in 1999. So, and probably most people don't know where Hamilton is, where McMaster University is. If I talk one place, you will know where it is. At least you heard the name. It's Niagara Falls. It's about 30 miles, 40 kilometers away. It's about a little bit longer than 40 miles away. It's about a half an hour drive from Niagara Falls to Hamilton. And it's also about a half an hour drive from Toronto. So it's just like between Toronto and the Niagara Falls. Okay. So this is Hamilton, Ontario. And this university got very famous is because of this person. And his name is Dr. Brockhaus. He got the Nobel Prize in 1994, 95, when I was there. Okay. And I didn't meet him in the hallway because we were in the same building that time. And we didn't realize this is a famous guy there. Actually, he sometimes walked around the building, which is just next to the chemistry building there. So it's a very, very famous guy. Okay, talk about my work experience. I worked in the past 2 or 3 decades now. Work as an analytical chemist. I just pull out my most recent work experience here, and you will see this picture if you come to Toronto. So I work just underneath there. It's just underneath CN Tower. Okay. So I worked as a senior chemist there, and this is the downtown Toronto. So you see this very famous stadium. That's the baseball stadium there, and also we got, if you like hockey, there's a big hockey stadium there. That's Toronto hockey. Well, I don't know how much you know that. Yeah, in Michigan, in Ontario, that's the most famous sports. Okay, so I worked there for a little bit time before I moved down to the U.S. Very nice picture. This is, you are sitting on the lake of this is Lake Ontario. Look back into the city. Okay. Well, Then the next is I worked at, actually I'm working now. This is the older building I used to work in. This is Michigan State University. This is where I started work in 2003. And my office used to be just behind the tree here. It's very nice building, and IR4 laboratory is this corner there. Okay, so that's IR4, and well, I also work at the Department of Entomology. I do teach chemistry courses there. Okay. So you will see this kind of old building there. This is quite not that old. It's about 170 years old university. And the next picture you will see a very famous person. You probably see his picture everywhere a few years ago. President Obama visited our lab there when he came to Michigan State University to sign the Farm Bill. That was the very old, the cold time in February in Michigan, 2014. Yeah, well, I don't know how many people know Michigan. Well, if you come to Michigan in February, you will experience different thing about Michigan. Okay. So yeah, at that day, because he came to not my lab, next to my lab, yeah, and we were still working there. That was interesting work experience when the president was walking by or something, but we were not allowed to come out to shake hands with him. No. Well, we talked about Michigan, so we'll come to Michigan. Well, I'm going to talk about my family. So you know, from the other side to look myself. Yeah, those two people. This is the yeah. You look the picture, you know that this is not Michigan. And you probably in Southeast Asia, you probably see these kind of bushes, trees, and waters like this very often. But you don't see this kind of weather very much in Michigan. So you don't see this kind of trees. But you see we are on vacation down south in Florida. That's the Florida Keys. It's down very, very tip of the Florida. Okay, you will see a little bit closer those two people there. Interesting expressions on the faces. Yeah. These are my children. Actually, this is a little bit older picture, but yeah. That's the family. You know me now. My family and my background. Well, if I just say a little bit about Michigan, if you come to Michigan, I would recommend you come to Michigan in the fall, and you will see this kind of a picture almost everywhere. Everywhere, this kind of a beautiful leaves there. It's red almost everywhere. So in the fall, actually, I should say in autumn, because in different places, the English is called autumn. So sometime like beginning or mid of October is the best time. That was beautiful. That was so good. If you drive in Michigan, you can just like the next 8 hours, it's just like everything is the dark blue water and blue skies like that, and the red leaves everywhere. And also you will see a beautiful, I'm sorry. Okay, you will see a lot of wild animals, and this you can see in the parking lot. You will see this kind of deer and fawn in your backyard. I'm sure Michael sees this kind of animal once in a while in the backyard. Not only this kind of a deer, you will see rabbits, you will see squirrels, sometimes you see big, huge turkeys. Yeah, huge. And yeah, some other animals as well. So it's quite interesting, but sometimes you want to keep a little bit distance from these guys because they do come to your backyard to eat flowers. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's typical. If you sit under the tree in that time, that season, you will see blue skies, red leaves, very, very dry in the winter, in the summer, in the fall and the winter. Okay. Okay, I talk about my work. This is the key thing we want to say, and this is related to what we do. First, I want to talk about IR4. So the IR4 US, and we expanded our work internationally. So what we talk about here is the network capable of doing minor use projects. So one of the things I want to say is a lot of work we do now is going through the Minor Use Foundation. Okay, of course, sometimes we put the global there. Now it's just use the term MUF, Minor Use Foundation. And if we look the picture, actually the map of the United States, we will see this like 4 regions. So this is Michigan. It's just like a hand like that. Okay. Actually, on the top of here is also Michigan. Actually, Michigan is quite big. It's not only this hand thing. Actually, it's on the top. When we talk about Michigan, we say this way. Okay. I think Michael is here somewhere. No, here somewhere in New Jersey. Okay, so this is the northeast and the south. West is the biggest one, and this is north central. North central is quite big. Okay, and you will see where Michigan is, and this is New Jersey. So this is north central region, and this you will see. This is Michigan, where I am located. Okay. Okay. So the next is we talk about the USDA Foreign Ag Service capacity building, and I borrowed the following slides from Michael, and this is our work. So the IR4 is in the middle. We do a lot of work globally from the work in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. So we get all the work done. We have all those results. IR4 is coordinating all the activities. We submit to JMPR for global MRL. So that's what we do. I talk about my role in this program. I do laboratory trainings, GOP, and residue analysis. And I also help to do the residue work, studies, the reports, data review, and all these work related activities are for capacity building, for regulatory, for MRL. And sometimes at the university, I do teach chemistry courses. Okay. The next is, well, talk about what we did in the past and achievements, development, something like that. I will use some old slides Michael shared with us, and also I put a lot of pictures here. You will see some famous and some familiar faces in the next several slides. Okay, well, this is the ASEAN work in the past. Actually, that was a few years ago. That was a lot of old information. Actually, all these projects should be done now. But I just used the old slides we shared with people. So we finished all those projects. Actually, I visited actually how many countries? 4 or 5 countries in Southeast Asia. Okay, you will see some familiar faces. Next slide. This is 7 years ago. That's old. I thought it was not too long ago. That was in Bangkok. We did training there, and this is very famous people, very important people. Okay, and I was working there. And you will see those beautiful ladies there. It's interesting. All the lab people, it's just like ladies. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You will see that. And you will see Michael is very young. Yeah. Okay. We will see the next slides. We see quite a big group here. I'm sure some of you are still in the audience now, and looking forward to working with you again in your labs. Okay, and we will see the next slide. That's in Jakarta. So, yeah, I'm sure quite a lot of people know some of people there. Okay, and next one is the group training in Indonesia, in Bali. And you will see quite a lot of people there. And, okay, this is in Vietnam, but that was not doing residue studies, but it's doing like the work in the catfish, that's in Kanto. Okay. And you will see again, interesting thing is, you see all the lab people, both sides, they are all boys. Interesting, eh? It's different. And she's the lab director. So that's interesting. It's different from Thailand, at least in the picture. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I also went to the Philippines. I'm sorry, I changed my phone. I could not find those pictures on my new phone, and I'm in old files. Sorry about that. If some people from the Philippines in the audience, sorry about that. Yeah, I should find those pictures later. Well, just quickly go through the other work. This is the work in Africa, and you can see the picture there, and see all those countries here worked with us. Okay, that's interesting thing because in Africa, there's so many countries scattered around. Sometimes the work is quite challenging, so we just show them on the picture on the slides here now, and you will see these are the countries we worked. Okay, Egypt, Morocco, Senegal, Ghana, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, and we will work with other countries like in the south and some other countries. Actually, I did visit other countries, but that's not for the residue studies. Okay, I show some fun thing in picture thing, and this is in Cairo. Cairo, Egypt. And this people, he's in my lab now. He's working in my lab. And we worked what is that project? It's a guava study. It's azoxystrobin, difenoconazole. Okay. And the next one is Morocco. Okay. We worked with them, and we are trying to develop a residue study with in Morocco with them. And this is in Accra, Ghana. Okay, so there's a lot of people there. I'm just right hiding in the back there. And this one, you will see some other people. Oops, why it's not showing now? Okay. Looks like my PowerPoint does not work. Okay, it's here. Now it's working. This is in Nairobi. That's the group training. And yeah, you will see quite a lot of people here. And where? Okay, I'm hiding here. I don't even see myself there. Okay. And you will see Dr. Braveman is hiding in the corner there. There's a lot of other people. And this is the training just for African Union AUI bar. And yeah, you will see that. And I found some old picture, which next one here, and you will see these people. I will see Michael's here. Actually, this is, I don't know, Michael, is this like 20 years ago, 15 years ago? And you look at you and Jason, it's so young. Anyways.
I think that's about 2012, roughly.
2012?
Yeah.
Okay. That was interesting. I thought it was younger than that. You look at Jason and you, very young. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I found. Yeah. I don't know where I got this picture. Maybe some PowerPoint slides I copied here. I just want to share. Okay. Just say a little bit more before we go into GOP training, the real GOP, but this is also GOP related. This is a part of my work. We talk about the Latin America. Let's go through one by one. This is Costa Rica, Ecuador, Bolivia, Colombia, Peru, and Panama. So I visited 4 of them. I was going to visit more, but unfortunately, the pandemic really slows things down. Okay, I show some quick pictures. This is in Costa Rica. Okay. You will see, I'm just right in front. Actually, because of this picture, we want to show this the name here. Actually, those people will stand here. Okay, and you will see a lot of ladies back here. It's very smart guy. Yeah. The next one is in Peru. So we did some studies there, and this one, actually, I made a typo. This is to be Colombia, not Colombia. Okay, I'm sorry, that's a typo. It should be Colombia. Okay, this is Colombia. Yeah, this is in Bogota. Okay, I just list the studies we did there. So we did pyriproxyfen, pineapple, banana, spinetoram, avocado, spinetoram, banana. And you see those names, the chemical names and the crops, they are very familiar because we did some of them in Southeast Asia as well. Okay. This is also the slides we used before. We talk about our process. I'm not going to talk about that in the workshop or in Michael's training. You will see some more this kind of slides. So Okay, this is our work, STDF grant and USDA FAS capacity building, and this is making the previous slides more complicated because we got more items there. But in the lab part, we do the residue studies. We provided the data for the final for the report for final submission. Okay, so after we talk about all, we should know all these terminologies, all the names, we should know that. Okay, so and let me just quickly go through some of them. If you don't know that, you probably can Google that. That's what we expected to know right after this this part of the training. So we know what GOP is. We work on that for the laboratory practice. And sometimes it's GMP because we are talking about in the manufacturing factories or companies. So we did not talk about GAP, but if you attend the Michael's training, Michael's workshop, you know that. Okay, this is good agricultural practice. That's how we do our work in the field and all those applications or how you use the pesticides. We know IR4, that's for sure. That's where we work, and all those center thing. You look there, the slides. That's the center thing because we are coordinating the studies. Then we talk about MRL, our maximum residue limits. That's this final submission to JMPR. We will get this MRL. We know EPA, that's the government agency. We know FDA, and most of the labs I visited is ISO 17025 accredited lab. So it's not a GOP, but this has a lot of similarities to GOP standards. The OECD, we know that. I just leave this MAD on the side at this point. If we need to talk about that, we can talk about that. This is the next one. USDA FAS is supporting our project, our work. That's a Foreign Ag Service in the USDA. And this is Codex, CCPR, JMPR. That's our report to submitted to. That's the global MRL will be set through JMPR, CCPR. So we have the STDF grant funding for our work, and this is minor use and the minor use foundation. That's if you know IR4, we pretty much get to know minor use foundation, minor use. Okay, I just leave MOU there. Yep, that's the first portion about myself, about my work, and we will continue. If you have any questions, you can ask me now. You can type. Can I see the chat thing? But if you have a question, you can ask me. But I'm sorry, that's this kind of a training makes things a little bit complicated. But let me see. Can I see the hand? I probably cannot see that very well. Sorry about that. Yeah. I normally will ask you guys question if you don't ask me. That's in my training. Some people may still remember. Okay. When I finish a certain portion of my training, I will pause and wait if you have questions. If you don't, I'm going to ask back you what kind of questions you may have. If you don't ask me, I probably will ask you. Okay, so let me move on the next slide. Okay, that's not what share. Let me just share a little bit then. While we are waiting, let me share. That's okay. We don't need to. Otherwise, it takes too long if I want to share details. This is the one. Do not need this one. Let me just escape that one. You don't see it. Okay. Let me see. This is the one I want to share. Okay. That's good. That's exactly what I want. Yeah. Okay. What time is it? Do we need to take a break? No, we still have about 20 minutes before we take a break. Well, let's just continue our talk, our training. I will mix the certain principles of GLP, good laboratory practices, and the lab work. Sometimes you will see that because if we just do the GLP training, I think most QA can do that. But when we are doing the lab-related work, it's probably we need to have chemists and analysts to be actively involved. So we will talk about this kind of training throughout this week about the lab, about the GLP principles, about what we need to do to meet those requirements. Okay. Yeah, if you want to get hold of me, the best way is to send an email to me. I will set up certain kind of social media type of means for us to communicate. I know some people use like a WhatsApp, but you can call me or we can have the group chat. Yeah, I know in Asia, especially in China, WeChat is very powerful. A lot of times people use WeChat, the WeChat group. Yeah, we can set this up if we need to, but unfortunately, the U.S. government is going to ban the WeChat in this country, in the U.S. But anyways, let's talk about this later. So we have more ways to talk to each other, and we go from there. Okay, we talk about the GLP, good laboratory practice. There are some other ones there. I just list some of them here. The most important thing we work on is the good laboratory practices. Well, you will see here and there, you will see GMP, GCP, or sometimes called that a GXP. So they are very similar in terms of documentation, but the focus will be different. So, so that's type of the work we need to work on. But let's just go a little bit further, just talk about the GLP. Okay, so we talk about some general terms when we are in the lab, when we are in the field, talking about the GLP. Okay, so GLP is a document. Okay, that tells that it describes the objectives, the methods, and everything we need to do with the study. The protocol, sometimes in different GLP, for example, OECD GLP, it's called work plan. That's almost the same thing. Okay, we will go through the protocol tomorrow, talk about the detail, the protocol in terms of the lab activities, using the IR4 protocol as an example. We will go through that. The SOP, standard operating procedures, we will go through this as well tomorrow. And while I'm sure I visit all the labs there, you have very good the SOPs and a lot of things, even though it's not necessary to be used for our residue work, but when we talk about our work there, we probably need to look at it again. So how can we fit this in our work? Okay. I will visit some labs after this pandemic. Yeah, I will share my SOPs with you so you can take a look how we handle things, how we put in our SOPs. Then there will be the working method. So when you work in a residue study, so what kind of a method we will be using, and what can be used, what cannot in terms of the requirement. And you will see I put in the 3 levels there. So that's the order we need to follow. If the protocol says you cannot use this kind of a procedure in the lab, then the protocol will rule everything. So you have to follow the protocol. And the same thing, if SOP gets certain kind of limitation, then your method of work cannot do that because this will not fit in the work. However, if there is anything, you probably need to do is talk to the study director. Okay. So in this case, what I say, I will give you a quick question. Maybe I will ask the question, to answer tomorrow. So how many times in the IL4 protocol mentioning talk to the study director, ask the study director, communicate with study director, contact study director, some kind of a wording like that. So you can find IR4 protocols online. You just go to ir4project.org, or you can just simply easily go to Google, just type IR4 project. You will find the website. Then you just need to click food crop. Then you'll find all the studies there. Just pick up any one because all the protocols in IR4 work is very similar. So pull out any one of there and search and find and read how many times we say talk to the study director. Okay, so I will ask this question and please do a little bit of homework. So this is a good thing for you to understand how important this is to talk to the study director. Okay, that's some kind of a homework I will ask you. I will ask the question before end of today's training. I will ask again, and I will mention again, go to find a protocol, IR4 protocol, and to find out how many times we use the term, we use the wording, contact study directors, and communicate study director, or email, or whatever the wording, that means talk to the study director. Okay. Well, there are some agencies there or global organization. We remember in the last PowerPoint slide, these are there. So we know EPA, which in the US, that's the government agency to establish the tolerance, or equivalent to MRL in other countries. And of course, FDA is very powerful agency there in the US to do all those food and drug related work. And we know OECD, that's our work, is working on, and a lot of GOP out of the US is called OECD GOP. Okay. So in the GOP, the most important part is probably on this slide. We talk about SD, okay, the study director. Okay, then we talk about who is working on the project, the real people who is working, like the field research, the laboratory research. Okay, and then it's the QA. So we will see, we will use this terminology study director, or just simply say that SD. In the IR4 system, we call that next one, we call that FRD, means the field research director. In other protocol, in other work plans may be different. And LRD is the laboratory research director. So that means the field work and the lab work. And the QA, say that this is the abbreviation for quality assurance, and that's another one very, very important one. Okay, so well, we're going to talk about the definition of GLP. Well, this is, you can read that, okay. GLP is the quality system with the organizational process and conditions under, it says, non-clinical in terms of health and environment safety studies. Well, this kind of the definition, that's all talking about non-clinical, because originally the GLP is developed in FDA environment, so they make it clinical and non-clinical. But if we are talking about EPA GLP or some other countries, most likely people will remove the word non-clinical, because our work, for example, in our work, we work in the lab, we work in the field, we do agriculture work, we do the pesticides work. None of our work is clinical, so there's no point there. But however, for the formal definition, a lot of wording there, like a non-clinical, still there. So that's why in a lot of training, people say, why say non-clinical? Why it's clinical or something? So that's the history, because they had used the word in FDA system, and in this a long time ago, and after so many years, this wording is still there. But if you read, do I have the EPA definition? I don't. Okay. But if you really read the EPA GLP definition, you will not see this word in there. So the next here, the keyword here, let me just put something. I'm not sure you can see this. Okay. So in what work, what kind of a work you need to do the GLP? So any health related or environmental related, like pesticides, okay? So all those you must do GLP if you do the registration work. And if okay, in the activities of you do the planning, you do the performance, you monitor the work, recorded all the activities, of course, in the archives and the report. So all these activities, you need to follow GLP. So for example, I'll give you an example. Okay, if you do your lab work, you did a GC-MS analysis. So that part, from the beginning to the end, you need to follow GLP. And also, when I teach in the classroom, I also ask the same question. How about this is related to the work, the pesticides registration work, but I work in the lab, for example, where the sample is, I don't know, just I make a phone call. I talk to the field people, okay, where's the sample? When I expect to get a sample? So that is also the activity related to anything we say here, okay? So should that be GLP? Should I record that? So most students will say, no, how can I record a phone call? So my answer is yes. You must record that. Okay? You must do GLP. If there is no this kind of a format data recording system, you need to create one. You need to have a phone log. You need to have something to do the work. This is exactly what we do in our lab. Yes, you have to, because that's part of the work. You show you did GOP, and this is important. You know where the sample flow is. It's just like from another way you can tell how you do this work and how the sample is going. A lot of times, yes, we did a study from one side of the continent and shipped sample to another side of the continent. For example, in Africa, from West Africa, shipped to East Africa if you need to do some work. Okay, so this kind of communication is very important. You know where the sample is, then you need to track if the sample is still good or not good. So yes, this is important. Okay, the next is we keep talking about non-clinical, clinical. Okay, if you remove the word, okay, and you put it in our system, that should work. And you will see when we are talking about the laboratory study, we are talking about any activity. We talk about any activity, for example, we just talk about, say this is any activity. Let's say act, okay? It depends on which GOP you use or which kind of the requirement that you use. If you look down here, it says it's 21 CFR 58. So typically in the US, we say that short is it's 21 CFR. Oops. That. PowerPoint sometimes it's difficult to write. CFR 58. Okay, so if it is like this, we should know which GOP that is. Okay, if we are talking about the FDA GOP, it's always 21. CFR stands for Codes of Federal Regulations. So this is the US federal law. And 20 CFR 58 is the FDA, so this is FDA. And because FDA started the GOP, so it's FDA. So we are talking about FDA GOP here. But if you compare the FDA and the EPA GOP, very likely the difference is remove the non-clinical. You can read that, and the wording will be very, very similar. We can do a little bit of comparison. Okay, we see what's going on. Okay, so when you read that, and same thing, you can see probably this will be the OECD. So it is 7 o'clock. Let me just go through a couple of more slides before we do a quick break, because now I can see outside my window. You can see that it's getting brighter now. It's just to see a little bit sun. Yeah. Yeah, it's early. Yeah, it's Michigan is west of Eastern time zone. We are almost 1 hour later than Michael, okay, in New Jersey. So probably he saw this kind of sunlight about an hour ago. I just have a little bit, yeah. But anyway, you see my light's still on. That's why you see my face. This is my light's still on. Okay, let's compare some definitions. See what we learned there. Oh yeah, it's very bright there, Michael. I can see that. Much brighter. we are still a little bit, a little bit sunlight there. Okay. Well, again, if we see down here, okay, it's 20 CFR 58 again. So this is FDA. Let's compare the FDA and the EPA, okay? So what is the sponsor? Sponsor is who is paying that, of course, who is initiate the study, who is going to submit the study, and sometimes it's going to do both. Of course, it's gonna provide all those things to pay, okay? And he's the boss. Say that short, okay? So that is the FDA definition. This is 21 CFR, okay, 58. And of course, you can go to details to read that. But if you read clearly, that's for sure, you will see it's non-clinical. Okay, non-clinical, all those things. Okay. But if we read the EPA definition of sponsor, you will see it's almost the same wording. It's just changed a little bit, but you can pull out the EPA GOP. Okay. Now this is EPA GOP. You see the difference? Let's see. We don't see any non-clinical. Now here is 40 CFR 160. So this is EPA. So this is how we learn from different GOPs. And is it any difference, or can we can we use the data from different GOPs, or this can be accepted by other GOPs? Okay. Now you read that a person initiates support. Okay. Provide providence the financial. Okay. This is gonna be initiate the study. You pay the money and submit it, of course, EPA in this case, and support that. And sometimes it can do both. Okay. You can do both. Okay. So let's read that again. Go back to the slide what we just talked about, FDA, and you will see that's almost exactly the same wording, except non-clinical. If we remove non-clinical and change FDA to EPA, that's exactly the same wording. For example, if we read the last one, a test facility if both initiates and actually conducts the study. And if we read EPA, that's exactly the same wording. So this is one way we can compare different GLPs. Can they use in different environment? Yes. My opinion is, as long as you follow one set of GLP, other GLP systems should recognize unless there's a special requirement for that system. For example, if you work in the US, EPA GLP, you work the same study in, for example, in Australia or in Japan or in EU. If you say you follow OECD GLP, I would say, based on my opinion, based on my experience, yes, they will accept your data, and those data can be accepted each other. So this is the term we said the other day, in the previous slides. We used the term, I said I will leave that later. Okay, MAD. So that's another term we learn now. What is that? It's mutual acceptance data. So your residue work will be accepted by other countries, by other regions, by other organizations. Okay, so in this word, if you want to have your data, MAD, mutually accepted data by other countries, you need to follow GLP. So that's the standard. Okay. Okay, it's 7:06. Should we have a quick coffee break, like a 10-15 minutes? We come back like New York Times 7:15. Is it good? Okay, let's have like a quick coffee break. I'm drinking my coffee now. Okay, so we will resume in 10 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, during the coffee break, you can also enter any questions you might have into the chat box. If you haven't already signed on, please enter your name and email into the chat box. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me mute my video and audio.